All right, folks on Zoom, we're just testing our room sound. We should get started shortly. If you can hear us okay, throw up some thumbs up. Microphone emoji if you want. All right, perfect. All right, we're gonna get started in about 1 minute. I'm so used to inching closer. All right, good evening, everybody. Welcome to our February edition of our Community Board 12's general meeting. My name is Catherine Diaz. I'm the chair for Community Board 12. We rep Washington Heights and Inwood. Joined up here and okay, Catherine was here, I forget. I'm joined up here by Anthony Viola, who's our first vice chair. Alexis, who is our secretary and dutifully taking notes and recording names, and Daryl, who is our assistant secretary, who will be managing time. Anthony, for folks who are on Zoom, is diligently in the chat. So if you want to speak during our public session, he's responding. Make sure you have your name and your group. If you do also experience technical difficulties, he'll be able to kind of troubleshoot with us in the room to make sure that you're able to hear okay. As we've also shared, if folks want to follow along in any language that they'd like, go on and click the captions. And all right, and then actually I should call my meeting to order because we reached quorum at 6:40 something. So I'm gonna say, I'm gonna call the meeting to order at 6:46. And before we go into adopting tonight's agenda, just to go through our meeting norms, especially if it's your first time, because I do see some new faces on Zoom and online. So we are hybrid, meaning be a little patient with us, right? We got to look at chat, we got to look at the camera, make sure everybody's good and following along. This meeting operates a little differently from our committee meetings or even like regular community meetings, in that only board members are able to speak. Right, so if you have an announcement, if you have questions about anything we're discussing tonight, the public session is where you can raise them. We're not able to respond or engage in a back and forth conversation, but if you're in the room or even on the chat, we'll be able to kind of get your contact information, and either a board member or the office staff can follow up. This goes without saying, right? One at a time. Particularly in a hybrid meeting, making sure, don't know what's going on. Making sure that, especially because Alexis is taking notes on the laptop and we're trying to make sure everybody's capturing. If it's your turn to speak, make sure it's only one of us speaking at that time. We're all timed, right? A lot of folks are parents, got things to do. So please keep your comments to under 2 minutes. For our electeds and their reps, y'all get 3 minutes. And then again, one at a time, raise your hand if you have a question, real nice and loud. If you're on Zoom, please use the raise hand function or use the chat. And again, the chat is really mainly to share any information like announcements, links to things that were shared vocally. And of course, if you're having technical difficulties. And we have it on the screen, but all of our meetings are held to the Manhattan Borough President's Code of Conduct. So if you want to learn about that, check that out. I don't know what's going on here. All right, covered this, covered that. All right, so here's tonight's proposed agenda. We have, oh, actually, it's less than 6:17. We have about 15, give or take, items ahead of us tonight, mainly in licensing and health and environment. If you are, sorry. If you are a member of the public and are curious, you can go onto our website and find the resolutions that we'll be discussing tonight. Is there a motion to adopt tonight's agenda? I heard Isidro and I have a hand from Mary. Thank you. Are there anybody opposed or an abstention? Okay, hearing none, tonight's agenda is adopted. We also have Alexis's first set of minutes from January 2025. Is there a motion to adopt them?
Motion.
I heard a motion from Daryl. Is there a second? James, thank you. Any abstentions or oppositions?
This is Liz Ritter on Zoom. I'd like to abstain
All right,
because
hearing none, those are.
This is Francis.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. Wow, that was super low.
can you hear me?
No, give me a minute. The room, I think it's I'm sorry. Can you try now?
Can you hear me?
Super low.
That's weird.
Can you try again?
Can you hear me now?
Nope, 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 that wasn't that. All right, try again.
Can you hear me now?
No, worse. Wow.
Hmm.
All right, Alex, what happens when Columbia tech's not here?
I would go back to that one where we at least someone all the way.
Can you say something, Liz?
Something, Liz.
I don't hear you. Try now.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, that's good.
I think this is the best we're gonna get. Unfortunately, we're gonna have to repeat back. I'm super sorry, folks. That means we're gonna need a little extra silence in the room. Okay, go ahead, Liz. Can you say what you were gonna say?
I'd like to abstain on the minutes. I can't find them. I haven't been able to read them.
Okay, so we have one abstention.
How was that close to it was?
So for OC. Okay. All right. We rolling with the punches tonight. All right, for my chair report, I have just two really brief messages for our board members of things to be on the lookout for March. And one of which is our annual survey. So if y'all remember, we did our, actually, I should call it a biannual survey. So we did our survey back in June. And that was really capturing kind of like our last year. Obviously, we have a lot of new members. And so we're gonna be resending those in the month of March. So that way we can capture your first experience in the first 6 months of your appointment. And that gives us time to be able to kind of, you know, take everybody's feedback, adjust over the next few months. So that's the survey. And then the second thing I wanna call OC on up to share the news because it's great news. Yeah. Let's do it at the top.
Okay, so great news. The ASPCA will have spay and neuter wellness vaccination services in our district for our 4 zip codes only this month. So that's this is a good start. We have to continue to remind them that we need more services for our pets. And our government officials will be crucial in that, our council members, definitely, to push the ASPCA and ACC for all those clinics. We need them here. So that's a good start. At some point, I would like to have a brick and mortar clinic in our district. So that's a long way, but we'll get there if we fight for it. Yes, we can.
Thanks, Sophie. For folks who don't know, we used to have this service. We passed a resolution because the only way that folks who have pets, excuse me, and are on Medicaid have to go to the Bronx at like 5 a.m. and a crazy struggle to be able to get those appointments. So these mobile vans have really helped facilitate that support that's necessary, especially for a lot of seniors. So kudos to OC and the Health and Environment for really staying on the ASPCA to try to find a solution.
You have a question about it if you want to address them.
Oh, yeah.
Joel, what are the locations?
We don't have them yet, right? Yeah.
Locations are not posted yet.
So the locations aren't posted yet, but through our newsletter, we're gonna send out the sign-up links, the locations, all the details, and in terms of when they're coming. Okay, and to access our Airtable, if you go to our meetings tab on our website, you can click on meeting agendas and minutes, and there you'll find items that we're discussing today, and for all of our meetings, actually. All right, I'm gonna bring on up our district manager. If you don't know, every community board has a district manager. We are all volunteers. He is the staff. We have 3 staff, and he is who heads up our office. So Ebenezer Smith.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Always is a pleasure being here as your district manager and give my report. Today I'm going to start with an announcement from the MTA. MTA notified us that a planned work weekend from February 28th to March 3rd on the A train gonna take place this weekend. It started on Friday, February 28th, 2025. From 9:45 p.m. until Monday, March 3rd, 2025 at 5 p.m. 3 shuttle buses will run along the uptown and downtown routes. So be aware that this Friday, starting at 9:45 p.m., there will be no A train services between 207 and, no, between 168th Street and 207th Street. The New York City Department of Transportation ART program, DOTR, is partnership with the Sari, Norman, and the Korean Art Forum to present a banner-like art made of recycled plastic and polyester and ribbon on the street light poles in the Inwood Hill Park in Manhattan. The display period will be from mid-March through May 2025. And the Korean Art Forum will act as the maintenance partner for this duration of the installation. Con Edison is now resuming collection effort aligned with regulatory requirements to drive down outstanding customer bills. Ms. Alina Suriel for Con Edison is going to be updating us on this effort from Con Edison in the public session. New York City DEP is also collecting water debts and will be selling liens to real estate property whose owners own more than $3,000 or more in the water bills. The 2025 lien sales will be held on May 20th, 2025. If anyone has this situation, this condition with the water bills, they should contact DEP before May 19th in order to pay the arrears and get out, avoid the lien sale of their property. The New York Road Runners is thrilled to announce once again that they will be hosting the Washington Heights Salsa Blood at Shamrock 5K this coming Sunday, March 2nd at 9 a.m. The race is going to start on Fort Washington and 174th Street, and the area going to be closed for parking between Haven Avenue and Broadway from 174 all the way up to 175, and there will be no traffic starting 7:30 in the entire 4 Washington Avenue from 168 to the park, the rotunda there. And finally, I just want to make an announcement, as is a reminder, it is regarding Real ID Act. If your driver license or your ID doesn't have a star or a flag on it, you don't have a Real ID compliance document. The Real ID is a federally compliant to Department of Motor Vehicle issued to driver license, learning permit, or not driving ID that will require to be for you to board a domestic flight or to enter any U.S. building that requires ID. And this is an act passed by the Congress in 2005, and the Real ID Act established the minimum security standard for a document to be called Real ID. And this enforcement going to start on May 2025 this year. That's why I am making the announcement, because if you don't have your Real ID, you may not enter a federal building or use it to fly a domestic flight or get out the country. But the Real ID is optional, it's not mandatory. You can be using it as identify yourself, to have it as a driver license, to vote in or register to vote, to enter a federal facility that do not require a person to present identification, and also for apply for federal benefits, et cetera, et cetera. So if you are a person who travel within the United States, you should have your Real ID in order to do it. And one announcement, one distinction is that the Real ID with a flag icon is only given to United States citizens. Thank you very much. This is the end of my report. Is there any question there? Yes, Richard.
Simply repeat the date of the run that closes down Fort Washington Avenue.
The run is this coming Sunday, March 2nd.
A train and the M4 shut down at the same time. Absolutely freezing the area in terms of transit. The issue has been brought up, not necessarily here,
Hold on.
but next year.
Richard, sorry.
Yes, I need to repeat your question from the people online listening to you and in Zoom. Okay, Richard Allman, a board member, asking me when the 5K salsa blues and shamrock gonna take place. It's gonna take place this Sunday, the 2nd, and he's complaining, saying that this is the 3rd year on the road that we have this run and the A train is not working. And he's giving the reason that this is not fair, that we have this event and the A train is not running. And I agree with him 100%. And I raised it to MTA, and the answer was that the shuttle bus is gonna be available, and it's gonna affect it only the stops from 168th Street to 207. Coming from downtown, another location is gonna be available, and the spaces between the stop between 168 and 207 gonna be served by shuttle buses, and also the number 1 train that run parallel. Yes, guys, I cannot see Indiana. What you need to say, or you could somebody.
It was you just answered it. I wasn't sure if the downtown A train was running this weekend.
Yes, the service suspension is from 166 to 207.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
Yes, the number 1 train is available and the shuttle buses as well. Is there any other question? I don't see any other question. Thank you very much. God bless you all. Madam Chair.
Thank you. So we're gonna move on to our elected reports, as mentioned, 3 minutes per person. And we're gonna start in the room since we only have 1 VIP in the room, and that's Noah Coy from the Public Advocate Jomani Williams' office. And then we're gonna shift over to Zoom.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good evening, everyone. I hope everyone's having a terrific Tuesday today. So I just want to share a few updates on statements the public advocate has issued in the past month. So first, he called, this was on Thursday, January 30th, so almost a month ago. He called for public school support for students with disabilities. So on January 30th, at a hearing of the City Council Committee on Education, the public advocate lamented that despite federal laws mandating services for students with disabilities, it is an understatement that New York City is failing to meet these standards, leaving many children without services, falling behind, or unable to attend school at all. The public advocate also earlier this week, actually yesterday, he called to end what he called a flawed NYPD gang database, and also called to improve actual public safety. So yesterday, he joined the New York City Council Committee on Public Safety to call for an end to the NYPD's Criminal Group Database, or CGD for short, which is also known as the gang database. And in his remarks before the committee, the public advocate underscored the disproportionate impact of the database on Black and Hispanic youth, the lack of transparency around its criteria for inclusion, and the harm it causes to individuals and communities. And then the last update I want to share, the public advocate on last Thursday, February 20th, he issued a statement on Governor Kathy Hochul's proposals to guardrail Mayor Eric Adams's administration. And I'm just going to read verbatim what the public advocate said. So he said, proposing laws to constrain a specific person underscores the harm of having that person in office as mayor. Before attempting to create new structures and precedents, though, I hope, I'm speaking as a public advocate, I hope the governor will fully consider all current contingencies, including the upcoming decision from Judge Ho. And I hope that the mayor will fully consider the damage to New York that he would cause through a reduction in the city's autonomy as he contemplates his own future. No one can deny the need for action at this point, and the fact that the governor feels the need to step in once again speaks to the gravity of the moment and the validity of concerns about this mayor. Any initiatives undertaken to correct the mayoral crisis of leadership must balance the need to protect the city in this moment without creating unintended harm beyond it. So yeah, that does it for me in terms of my updates, but I'm more than happy to take any questions if anyone has questions.
Alexis.
I wanted to get the proper name for the, is the gang database?
Yeah, it's the Criminal Group Database, or CGD for short. Yeah.
And I think Liz.
Liz, you have a question?
Yeah, it's actually a question for Kathy. I've had my hand up for a while.
Oh, okay. That's a
Yeah,
question for you.
hold on, let me just make sure Noah first, if anybody has questions, so we can keep going. And then I got you.
Thank you, everyone.
All right, what is it, Liz?
Well, now that I've been able to find the minutes on Airtable, am I allowed to change my vote on the minutes?
I mean, we've closed voting, so I would say no, because we usually don't reopen it.
Okay.
I think so. All right, next up, we're
but-
going to Zoom. Yeah.
But also, Noah's name is misspelled in the minutes, so.
Yeah, we saw your edits. Alexis got them done.
Cool, thank you.
Thank you. All right, next up we have Fernanda, I always butcher your last name, I think, Lujan, from the District Attorney's Office.
That was perfect. Yes, Lujan. Hi, everyone. My name is Fernanda Lujan from the Manhattan DA's Washington Heights office, located on 530 West 166th Street on the 6th floor. We're open Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. So if you guys have any questions or concerns, you guys can stop by our office. You do not need an appointment to come in. You could just stop by. So today I have 2 programs to announce, and the first one being the high school internship program. I announced it at the last meeting, but applications are still going on. We're still accepting applications. So this internship program will focus on networking, workshops, and mock trial coaching for youth. Applications will close on March 12th at 5 p.m. And applicants must be in current high school, sophomores, juniors, or seniors who reside in Manhattan. So I will make sure to leave the flyer in the chat. And then the second program that's open is the Gun Violence Prevention Fellowship. This fellowship offers Young Adults Impacted by Gun Violence, a platform to make meaningful contributions to one of the most critical public safety issues facing our communities. Through hands-on collaborations with staff, mentors, and community partners, fellows will learn about the criminal justice system, and they will also help develop prevention strategies to combat gun violence. So to be eligible for this program, they must be ages 18 to 25. They must also have a high school diploma or a GED. They must be enrolled in college, have a college degree, or they must have 1 year of work or volunteer experience. And they must also be residing in Manhattan. I will make sure to leave the flyers in the chat, but you can also check them out at our at the Danny website. And if anyone has any questions or concerns, my number is 212-335-3320. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Amanda. Also, if y'all don't get CB12 emails, we have all the flyers in the world, all the announcements. So I know we've been sharing it out throughout the cycle. So if you're not on our list, you definitely want to get on it. That's where you learn all the new things that are popping in our community. All right. Next up, we're followed by Paula from Councilmember Shonaville's office. Yeah.
Hello, everybody. Good evening. I'm here to just say the elevators they're installing elevators at 125th station. That is something that we wanted for a really long time. And so it's looking like it's going to need about 6 to 9 months to complete. If you are a first-time homeowner, you can actually apply now for the Home First Loan Program. I'm going to leave the link in the chat for people to go directly, but it's open now. So definitely check it out. Check if you're eligible, because it's a really great opportunity for those that qualify. There is a petition that has been made for the gates of Columbia that are still closed. I'm going to drop it as well in the chat. If you're able to sign it, it's going to really help bring to attention how many people are affected by the gates of Columbia being closed and how it's affected the community and the neighborhood. So the Morning Heights Community Coalition has had a great job of creating a petition, and therefore we're trying to help them spread the word. Over 200 people actually attended our most recent e-waste recycling event. And so we've actually recycled over 5,000 pounds, and we're happy to say that there's going to be another one happening March 23rd, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. on Amsterdam Avenue between 109th and 110th. So mark your calendars. If you got an old computer, you got an old TV screen, you got an old keyboard you want to get rid of safely in the best way possible for free, come bring your e-waste to us on that day. And then we're also, if you're looking for answers about tenants' rights or want to remedy a violation or having any legal issues that haven't turned with your apartment or something like that, our office is setting up an HPD for March 6th, March 13th, and April 3rd, and I'll be dropping all of the information, so all the flyers in the chat into this right after this. And also we're having a pet adoption event at our district office on 141st Street, and that will be happening with ACC on March 29th from 12 p.m. to 4 p.m. And we'll also, if you are part of a community garden, this Thursday, we're passing into law so that community gardens will be included in the curbside organics pickup. So therefore composting will be available at all community gardens. They just need to sign up on a special application, and then DSNY will come around to pick up that organics, which then helps facilitate a more greener New York City. And that is it for me.
You have 2 questions. So one from Anthony. Is it a clarifying question, Alexis?
Yeah.
All right, we can go ahead first.
Where are the elevators being installed at the station?
Let's try this.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear that. Could someone closer repeat it?
Where are you installing the elevators? There was an installation of elevators at what subway station?
125th. If it's about the elevators, I think I was trying to make out what you said. It's 125th Street Station, and the elevators are being worked on to be there. Yes.
Which train?
Which train?
Train line, sorry.
It is the one train subway.
On the one train and 125th, right?
Yeah.
Liz?
Can you repeat the date, time, and place for the electronics recycling?
Yes, I will also be putting the poster into this chat after, but it will be happening March 23rd, Sunday, from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. on Amsterdam Ave between West 109th Street and 110th Street.
I think that covers our questions. Thanks again, Paula, for joining us. All right, we're gonna switch over to our other council member's office. We have Jamila Sandoval from Carmen de la Rosa's office.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, barely, but we got to hear a little.
Okay. Hi, everyone. I'm out sick with the flu, but wanted to just hop on quickly to say good evening and to kind of to give a quick update. This earlier this month, the Progressive Caucus launched our Crisis to Care budget campaign in coalition with advocates, providers, and unions. They're calling for 61 million in investment to tackle the dual mentality and public health crisis that has gone underaddressed in the city. The council member also held an oversight hearing to continue assessing the city's hiring and retention levels. And also introduce legislation 1180, which will limit the deduction of building owners can take due to the purchase of the renewable energy credits in order to comply with the local law 97 that was passed in 2019. A bidding will be limited to using RECs, RECES, to offset any assesses of its annual building emissions limits for up to 10% of the building's electricity and emissions. Earlier this month, actually last week, we had our public safety community conversation where we held different discussion groups based on different topics that have been impacting our community. We had city agencies and local nonprofit organizations within the groups. We were able to discuss mental health and homelessness, overdose prevention, traffic and pedestrian safety, youth safety, and much more, like domestic violence. And I believe I'm missing one more. We were able to have like mini town halls within the group where community residents were able to share their concerns with the actual agencies directly, but also get an update on what our office is working on with the agencies or a nonprofit on how to address these issues. And then tomorrow we are gonna be having our Dominican Independence celebration at City Hall from 5 to 7. It's a celebration that we have done since we got to the council. I'm gonna put the RSVP link on the chat so that anybody who is interested in attending can come. We'll have obviously groups that will be performing, honorees, and entertainment. Thank you all.
I don't see hands in the room or on Zoom. Okay, all right, feel better, Jamila. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
All right, we're gonna switch over to Christopher Espinosa from Assemblymember Manny de los Santos' office.
Hi, everyone. Can you all hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Hi, good evening. First and foremost, greetings from Assemblyman Manny de los Santos. He was at this meeting last month. Unfortunately, he has a busy schedule in Albany this evening. My name is Christopher Espinosa. I'm the Director of Community Affairs. First, since we are at the end of February, I would like to note two significant events that we hosted in our district. The first event that we hosted in honor of Dominican Heritage Month was the Dominican Independence Day Breakfast. This is our second annual event. We recognize and we celebrate the diversity of our city and the contributions of our Dominican community. In attendance, we had U.S. Senator Chuck Schumer, Congressman Adriana Espaillat, and a number of members from our community. And also one of the honorees was our very own Community Board 12 Chair, Mr. Ebenezer. It was a wonderful event. At the same time, February is Black History Month, and we hosted our second annual Black History Month celebration over in Marble Hill. Again, we honor some amazing folks who contribute and give back to the community here in our 72nd Assembly District. And it was a wonderful event with a great turnout. This month, we also partnered with the Taxi Limousine Commission to bring resources to drivers in our district and in Manhattan. It was a great turnout. Resources were provided, and we look forward to continue, providing support with resources. This announcements of other events this month. We are also proud to partner with the New York Immigration Coalition to host a Key to the City event in which we will be providing resources and also an immigration clinic to support our immigrant neighbors here in Uptown Manhattan. This is taking place on Thursday, February 27th from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. over at the 4 Washington Library. Another event that we are proud to partner to partner with, that we are proud to host. We are partnered with the Juan Pablo Duarte Foundation to do a Dominican Independence Day celebration. This is going to be taking place over at the Juan Pablo Duarte space at 408 Fort Washington, Suite 23A. It's going to be a wonderful celebration. We invite the entire community to come out and join us. Entering March, March is Women's History Month, and as such, we are proud to be hosting a Women's History Month event. This is going to be taking place March 13th over at United Palace from 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. We invite the community to come out and join us. Once we have a flyer finalized, we'll be sending it over to the community board to share with the community. We are also planning to host a self-defense class this month as well. And once we have those details finalized, we'll be sharing them with you all again. Our district office, we continue to be a resource hub. We're located at 210 Sherman Avenue. Our phone number is 212-544-2278. Every month, we have resources available open to constituents who live in our district, Washington Heights, Inwood, and Marble Hill. We have a great partnership with the New York Legal Assistance Group. We have pro bono legal services here in our district office space. We also have a good relationship with the tenant support unit. If you have any issues related to housing or you need legal assistance, please reach out to our office, make referrals. We are here to serve the community. Thank you all.
Thank you so much, Chris. Don't see hands from board members in the space or on Zoom, but I like Steve, Simon. Can you say, and then remember I gotta repeat it. Can you raise your question and then I have to repeat it because of the mics?
Chris, you remember at the last meeting, we had a discussion about the follow-up about the resolutions passed by this board on the reduction of beds in the adult rehab unit at the New York Presbyterian. I emailed Manny immediately after that, or shortly after that meeting. He said he was open to following up with the state health commissioner on the question. Do you know whether or not he did so?
Did you catch any of that, Chris?
Yeah, so it's in regards to the beds over at NYP, correct?
Yes, if he got to reach, if your office got to reach out to the New York State Department of Health Commissioner.
Yes, so okay, I would love to circle back. I want to speak without having the appropriate information. So I would love to circle back. Who asked the question?
Steve Simon, he will ask it every month. Don't worry.
Oh no, okay, no, sounds good. Sounds good, Steve.
In March, on the fourth Thursday of March, as we should.
We're entitled to have the elected officials following up on the resolutions that we passed at this board.
Absolutely. So the fourth Thursday of March, you already have a date for that. All right, next up we have from Manhattan Borough President's Office, Eric Cuello. Eric, still on?
Yeah, I'm here. Hi, everybody. Can you hear me?
Good, I hear you okay.
Great. Thank you. Happy February, everybody. I'll try.
Actually, sorry, you're kind of going in and out. Do you mind talking a little, maybe louder than you usually would in the room? It's just here.
Sure. Can you hear me
We're down
now?
to like 2 speakers.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Great. I'll try to keep it brief. First, I wanted to remind all of our board members that are up for reappointment this year. The deadline is fast approaching. I'll actually share some news. We have extended the deadline just a week. So you have until Friday, March 7th by 5 p.m. to submit your application to continue to serve on the board. And also for those in attendance, if you're interested in joining, we'd love to have more new voices on the board. You can find the link to the application on our website, which is Manhattan, B as in borough, P as in president, .nyc.gov. Also, I know a lot of folks have been following some of the more recent news on congestion pricing, but I'm sure here at the local level, we've been seeing how it's working for congestion. But there are some side effects that the borough president has been sounding the alarm on, such as the volume of out-of-state cars that are parking outside of the congestion zone and taking up spots in Washington Heights, Inwood, and other neighborhoods outside of the zone. You probably already know this, but the borough president, alongside Councilmember Carmen de la Rosa, are trying to advance a residential parking permit program for Manhattan. It is Intro 0674-2024, and it calls on the DOT to create a residential parking permit system for the areas north of 60th Street outside of the congestion zone. we will keep in touch as it moves forward, and we appreciate any advocacy that you may do. And then finally, I just wanted to note an upcoming event. The Manhattan Borough President will be hosting his Manhattan State of the Borough. It's scheduled for Sunday, March 23rd at 2 p.m. at LaGuardia High School, which is located at 100 Amsterdam Avenue. If you are interested in attending, we would ask that you RSVP directly to events@manhattanbp.nyc.gov. That's my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Eric. Oh yeah, I have a hand from Chris. Go ahead, Chris.
If you know, regarding congestion pricing, where is the evidence, or what is the evidence that people are parking from New Jersey, et cetera?
Did you catch that, Eric?
No, it's I'm unable to hear. I think I heard about congestion pricing, but I didn't see.
Yeah, okay. So the question, I'm gonna rephrase, sorry. The question is around congestion pricing. What is the evidence that, or the data behind knowing that cars from New Jersey or Connecticut are parking in the districts, uptown?
So I'm happy to come back with that information. That's our policy team that handles that for us, our transportation unit. So I'm happy to follow back up with, can you let me know which member that was? And I'm
Chris
happy to do that.
Whitaker.
Okay, I'll be happy to do that, Chris.
And a question from Eliezer and then Steve.
Sure.
Yeah, and to add to that point, evidence as to how many cars actually there's from all states, parkers in town, is there gonna be a price set?
A price?
A price.
For what?
On those who do park.
Oh, sorry, on residential parking. I thought you were talking about congestion pricing. Sorry. So on residential parking permits, is there a price set for that?
No, so that's a good question. My understanding of the bill right now is just giving Manhattan the opportunity to start a program like this. I think once we get the green light, it comes from Albany, then we would move on to figuring out what the system will look like, including pricing.
And Steve, to wrap this up.
Yeah, I have two questions on the congestion pricing issue. I'm wondering, during the whole environmental assessment process, and when a decision was made, the mitigation funds had to be provided to the Bronx because of negative impacts that would result from congestion pricing, increased traffic, increased pollution. Was there any discussion about whether or not mitigation funds should be provided to Northern Manhattan because of similar impacts as would occur in the Bronx?
Did you catch anything? No.
Yeah, so I was able to catch that. Thanks, Steve, for audiating that well for me. Yeah, so I am happy to check in and see if that is something that we are able to weigh in on. I can check with the borough president and find out.
Question number 2.
Well, I'm afraid it may not be too late, but I think it's something that is worth pursuing. I mean, if the Bronx can get mitigation funds, and if we feel there's a negative impact on our section of Northern Manhattan, then I presume we're entitled to mitigation funds as well. Let me ask you, I'm afraid, the same question I asked Chris earlier. As to, I did follow up in Porfirio after the last meeting. I'm wondering, has your office done anything to follow up on our resolutions concerning the reduction of the inpatient rehab beds at New York Presbyterian?
That's a good question. I would actually need to check in with both Porfirio and with the borough president, just because I wasn't here for the last meeting.
All right, well, I anxiously await your response.
Okay, you have, all right, thank you so much, Eric. Enjoy the rest
Thank
of the night. And then no, he said no. Okay. In the chat, sorry, because you came in a little later, there's an update for you from Carmen's office around the rehab beds.
Yes, I have it.
Oh, you did get the email. Okay. All right.
Yeah, I want to thank Carmen's office for actually following up, sending a letter to the state health commissioner, and they're now going to do a revised letter because their initial letter was based on the original plan by Presbyterian to close the unit entirely. Presbyterian then came back in response to all the opposition to say that they would reduce it from 16 to 5 beds, which we still found to be unacceptable.
Thanks, Steve, for that big survey. All right, we're gonna move on to our public session. So we're gonna start with a virtual. So I'm gonna pass it off to Anthony for this. Oh, sorry.
Thank you, Chair. So we have 2 virtual public session speakers. The first is Elizabeth Herrera, speaking about
housing lotteries, and HPD. Elizabeth, you now have permission to talk and you have 2 minutes. Elizabeth, you should be able to unmute yourself if you can hear us.
May you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Okay, good evening, fellow board members and neighbors. The concern that I had was related to some of the new HPD lotteries that are going on in the community. I did address the concern with the lottery managers, and I did send them proof of mailing in a timely fashion request for applications. I'm bringing it up not just on the behalf of my household, but a couple of other community household members that brought it up in a meeting that I was in within the community. They were individuals that requested mailing applications and hadn't received them. Being that it happened to 2 households close to me, I thought it was important, and I did send proof to the administrators of the lottery at HPD and also the managing agents.
Okay.
That ends my share.
Great, thank you so much, Elizabeth. And our second speaker is Sage Hamilton Hazarika. I apologize if I butchered that. Speaking on behalf of the Underground Railroad Consortium regarding the proposed Harriet Tubman byway. Sage, you now have permission to talk and you have 2 minutes.
Okay, testing 1, 2. Can everyone hear me okay?
Yes, we can hear you.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, CB12. It's an honor to speak. Happy Black History Month, and I'll just say thank you again for your time. My name is Sage. I'm a representative of a nonprofit organization, the Underground Railroad Consortium of New York State. We are a partnership of about 40 different abolition and Underground Railroad history sites across all of New York State. A lot of what we do is collaborative initiatives to preserve and promote Underground Railroad and abolition history. One of our hallmark initiatives right now is proposing a Harriet Tubman and Underground Railroad scenic byway. A scenic byway is a string of roads, in this case New York State roads, that all ascribe to a specific attribute. In this case, that attribute is history, and in particular the history of the Underground Railroad, but from the perspective of Harriet Tubman and other freedom seekers, free Black communities, the stories of the Underground Railroad that aren't always brought up first. This proposed route would stretch 550 miles from New York City to Albany and over to Niagara Falls. And it's, once again, based around different abolition history sites. The process that we're going by is one that's outlined by New York Department of Transportation. They have a very specific set of rules. But what we're doing is we've put together a volunteer steering committee of different, history-based individuals, state agency members, like members of DEC, Empire State Development, Parks and NYP, RHP, like the Parks and Historic Preservation. But then we also have committees of descendants of freedom seekers from across the state. Our proposed route actually goes through New York City through community boards 4, 7, 9, and 12 yourselves. The implications of a community board, either writing a letter of support if they're not directly on our proposed route, or issuing a statement of resolution, are that the community board would support our corridor management plan, which basically is the strategic plan that we basically guarantee to New York Department of Transportation that if a scenic byway is approved by them and then also voted on as a bill by state legislature, that plan includes good things. Like we have community outreach, we propose economic development initiatives for underrepresented businesses, and mainly that we tell the authentic stories of the history that we're focusing on. So the other part of a resolution of support for the byway entails that a scenic road remains a
If
scenic
you're
road.
time, I do apologize for interrupting you. We do have-
Okay.
We have one question for you from Liz. Liz, if you want to ask your question.
Hello.
Yeah, hi. I would love to hear more about this, and I'm guessing that this, I don't know which committee this would go to. I don't know if this would be more land use, if it would be parks and culture since it's history, or if it would be traffic and transportation since it's a DOT program. But if the chair can figure out with the chairs of the various committees which committee this goes to, I would love to attend that meeting to hear more.
Yeah, I'm sorry, normally we don't, I don't share, I was gonna share it though anyway, so I've been in touch with community boards, 9, 10, 11, we got a little uptown chat. And, we're working on coordinating so that we can align our consideration for a letter of support in terms of all uptown collectively, here in the spring, and so we are working, Wayne's alerted, and then, our office is in touch, so Sage, you're gonna be hearing back from whichever committee it lands to schedule presentation. And hopefully that means in that same month, you'll also have a potential letter of support from CB9, which covers Hamilton Heights.
Thank you so much. That's excellent to hear, and I won't take any much more of your time. But the resolution of support also requests that there be a moratorium on future billboards. So that might be a land use question too. But I have sample documents, including resolutions that have been passed by other counties and villages and towns, et cetera, further upstate and in Western New York.
Is it a clarifying question, Steve?
Could you just tell us where in our area would the byway run? Where does it cut through our district?
Just on the Henry Hudson Parkway, so strictly on the west side. Yeah. No. Yeah.
All right, well, there's a billboard at 155th Street we would love to get rid of.
Well, I mean, we wouldn't be able to get rid of any billboards. Existing billboards are grandfathered in, but a resolution of support, or I guess according to NYDOT, if this passes, new billboards might not be able to be built, so as to preserve scenic qualities, as far as they exist currently.
You need to clarify.
So just a point of clarification, there has been outreach on this to land use. We suggest that since it's a scenic byway, that it go to parks and culture. What was the discussion of the billboard? I think in the past that also went to TNT.
Great, thank you.
Yes, I have been in touch also.
Okay, great. So all the chairs are aware. Fantastic. So we are gonna move on to the in-person public speakers. We're gonna queue up the first three. The first is Bravo 56. So the person representing Bravo 56, if you can come up to the podium, you'll be our first public speaker. Second is Danita Nichols from the New York Public Library. If we can have you stand off to the side here, to my left, to your right. And then the third is Philip Pena, also representing Bravo 56. So the first speaker, and you come up, and you're gonna sit. We're gonna have you at the podium. Yeah, so the camera can see you, the people can hear you. And then you have 2 minutes when you begin speaking. And if you could just say your name as well. Yep.
Hi, how you doing? My name is Asa Mercado. Asa Mercado.
And then you can begin.
Oh,
2
okay.
minutes.
I represent Bravo 56. It's a bar and grill in Dyckman Street by Payson. We are like minimum 32 employees from the community that works there, and we're just asking for support from the community to keep our job flowing. I'm also a member of the New York State Police Officer. I also have a good rapport with NYPD Precinct 34. So far we've been open for about 2 years now. And we have no issues, and we support the community. Every time we have an event, we try to put our hands to help out. Any questions?
And just for the record, this is for resolution 14, board members. This is for resolution 14.
Hello, my name is Philip Pena. I want to mention that I am the superintendent of the building where the location Bravo 56 is at. I haven't had any complaints from anything. The music so far, everything is soundproofed. I have done jobs there before and I have seen everything. No, I'm here to support them too as well. Any questions for anybody?
Alright. Thank you so much for your
All right,
time.
have a good night, everyone. All right.
So our next public speaker is Danita Nichols from the New York Public Library.
Hello, everyone. It's Danita Nichols and Vianella Rivas from Washington Heights Library. So I'm Danita Nichols. I am from Inwood Library, 4790 Broadway, and also representing the newly reopened Fort Washington Library, 535 West 179th and Washington Heights, 1000 St. Nicholas. I wanted to talk a little bit about some of the things that are happening right now for better for immigrants in our 3 libraries. And the first one is at Fort Washington Library. This Thursday is a resource fair with a legal clinic, free consultations for immigrants related to legal questions and concerns. So this is something we really want to get out there so that people know about it. And I'm going to leave that around here. Both Washington Heights and Inwood Library are really excited to be scoring a bilingual teacher for computers, and we've found that this has been a really important thing for immigrants and access. So at Inwoods, they've already started Tuesdays and Thursdays, classes in Spanish, classes in English, and open labs where people can come and ask their questions. And finally, also in our 2 libraries, high beginning English conversations classes, which are very hard to find. Most English conversation classes are for people with more English than a high beginning level. So we just want to get the word out. That class is already in session, but they have told us that up through next week, they can accept new students.
I also would like to add that at Washington Heights, we are currently focusing in helping teens that are preparing to go to college. And that means that we have a young adult librarian that is doing counseling one-on-one for individual teens that need help with college applications, scholarships application, and any individual application that they have for, let's say, for job search. So if you know anyone that is in that path and need that kind of help, please refer them to the Washington Heights Library, 1000 St. Nicholas Avenue. All that information is in our website, Washington Heights at nypl.org. And I also have the flyers that I'm gonna have it in the table. Okay. Thank you.
Any questions? Board members? Great, thanks so much for your, you have one online from our board member, Mary. If you could set these stage, Mary, you can ask your question.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. So wonderful to hear about the different resources and events that the community is holding for our newest New Yorkers. I guess not necessarily a question, but more so a recommendation and a plea to also expand the types of languages that we provide these services in. We do have newest New Yorkers that speak Arabic, French, and other languages as well, to kind of expand it so that we're really, truly reaching all of our newest New Yorkers. Thank you for the work that you do.
I can answer that to a bit. The English conversations are for people speaking any other previous language. They're not strictly for bilinguals. They're not strictly for Spanish speakers.
Oh, that's wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We're going to queue up the next 3 speakers. So next up to the podium is Alina Soriel from Con Edison, followed by Nokel Matos Silver speaking about immigration. And then the third is Diego Quintunia from the Community Research Forum. So first Alina, then Nokel, then Diego. So Nokel and Diego, if we can have you queue up over here, wherever you are. Alina, you can be.
Oh, no, sorry, the share. On Zoom.
Okay.
Sorry. Wait, what? It's on the bottom, too. There we go. Oh. No, I think it's just the. Sorry, it's just the. I mean, it's sharing it on Zoom, it's just for folks.
Okay.
I can just go through this.
Hi, everyone. So I'm Alina from the Community Affairs team at Con Edison, representing Community Board 12. I have some important news to share with you guys. In 2024 and continuing to this year, Con Ed has resumed credit and collection activities for all electric and gas customers. You're going to start hearing about that in the community because we have not really done that during the COVID pandemic and also a little bit after the COVID pandemic because we had a new bill system. So this is really us going back to our policies that we had before COVID. We've been communicating with customers who are behind on payments by email, direct mail, and in-building notices, encouraging you to and the community to enroll in payment plans to get current on bills because termination is a last resort. We do not want to cut people's service off at all. And informing customers of the disconnection process, it requires several notices. So when people are disconnected, it should never be a surprise. It should never be, coming out of nowhere. We try to give people as much notice as possible to give them a chance to really rectify that situation. So like I said, it is the last resort. And we always visit people in person actually at this point, which is a new thing that we're doing to give people a last chance to come into a payment plan, which is ultimately what we're looking for. There are some exceptions and protections. Residential service is not turned off in extreme cold, which we're coming out of a little bit, or heat, which is like 90 or above. And we also have the concern program where if all members of the household are 62 and older, or permanently disabled or 18 and younger, they won't be disconnected. And we also don't disconnect customers enrolled in our life support and medical hardships program. But one important thing about that is that in order to be, on our radar as part of the life support program, you need to register. Because if we don't know that you have life support equipment, it's hard for us to be a support in that area. You're a great district manager. Ebenezer mentioned that, people will be afraid of scams. And so if you're ever unsure, please just call us at our number to verify if it's us calling you for the bill, if it's us at your door, and to do a payment plan, basically to reach out to us in any way, just call the number, especially if you're unsure.
Thank you. You have a couple of hands. So first is Eleazar. I'll repeat back your question.
Yeah, very quick. Very simple question. You guys do a tremendous amount of work with our communities and all communities, so we appreciate that. However, is there any specific method or criteria before you guys start doing work? That you notify local community boards of you guys doing, unless it's an emergency?
The question was whether there is criteria for Con Edison notifying community boards before doing work.
Do you mean like street work?
Yes.
Well, you can, anybody in the community can sign up to get notification of street work. I can get back to you on how to do that, but it's just like an email notification system that we have for people who are in any affected areas. So I think those notifications go out to the community board already. My supervisor Kimberly has
You have to be a Con Ed bill payer. That's the only way that we have your email address for us to send that out, but we also include all elected officials and try to get the message amplified that way. It's not for every job. It's for jobs that are very high profile that are going to take 2 weeks or more. We try to get those out. We miss it once in a while, I will admit that. If you ever see something and you have questions in community board calls, reach out to them and then we'll try to get an answer.
Yeah, we're always talking to the community board, to elected officials to reach out to them, and then they'll get back to us.
Thank you. Tracy?
You don't mention how people can contest the bill.
Well, you can always reach out to us and have any questions about your bill, and it's kind of the same process as doing a payment plan or anything else. It's to call the number. Sorry, I'm not sure how to.
However, to legally contest a bill, there needs to be address in writing. Therefore, what is the address in writing if someone wants to contest the bill? Because although you record the conversation, only you have access to those recordings. So what is the written address that people can write to when, because oftentimes with Con Ed, if someone owes like $100, Con Ed will tack on $1,000 to say, this is our fee for you not doing what you're supposed to do. So when there's contention, what is the legal process? This is a discussion process, but how do people protect themselves?
You can write into us as well. I didn't include that here, but if you go to our contact us page.
It's not listed there.
Subject to that litigation, we have to actually go to the Public Safety Commission, which is the overseeing.
No, I understand that. My question is for them to answer, not for you.
Oh.
Thank you.
So
There's an address or an email that folks can reach.
there is, I believe there is a mailing address on our contact us. And you can write us letters, and you can also actually go into our walk-in center. It's located at East Harlem on, I think it's like 124th Street. So that would be on our kind of contact us where to pay your bill page as well.
Okay, we have a couple more hands. I see Domingo, then I see then Indiana, and then we're gonna wrap it. And we're only taking questions from board members. Domingo?
Yeah, my question is, you have a range of, what's the typical, that people have to comment from within this district?
Just for me, I'm gonna repeat that. The question was whether there's a particular range that Con Ed has in terms of data that you would see in this district.
We don't make that data publicly available, kind of like what, that specific data. So I would have to look into what I can release. We typically don't like to make customer data available because then it starts to get into like publicly identifying information.
Something like, what my colleague said around, yeah, the whole $100, the next thing you know, you got a $2,000 bill because you have this administrative fee, you have a stamp fee, you have all these fees. So trying to see how we could be more effective to our community, because while all these resources sound great, not everybody will have access to be able to be like, hey, look, you know what? I use a breathing machine and I can qualify for this program as a result of that. You know what I'm trying to say? So I'm just trying to see what was the rate, because next thing you know, Washington Heights, all of Washington Heights is like still.
Well, specifically about the life support equipment that you mentioned, I put a handout with all of our programs that are available for assistance on the table, and also with the scam awareness information, and also for the the energy affordability plan, which is available for people on government assistance programs. One thing I would recommend that if you want some more information, or if you want to, like we said to this gentleman before, you can always reach out to your elected official, and you have access to them and they have access to us. So that's kind of a direct line. But if you want to call us, ask questions about your bill and about how things work, the number is really meant to be available as a resource for all kinds of things, for questions about your bill, for options.
Our elected officials become our pseudo Con Ed reps.
Wow.
District service cabinet. So folks, just
I do.
a friendly reminder, we
Yes.
are in public session. We're gonna take one more question and then we are gonna move on. So we do have Indiana Porter who's been waiting patiently online. Indiana, if you wanna ask your question, and then we have to move on to the next speaker.
Thank you very much. I wanted to ask for a little bit of information, or to know where to look for this information. I heard that Con Ed is trying to, get permission to raise rates or something along those lines. Can you speak to that? And if not, or even just what the process is, that who would they be petitioning to? I heard it was at the state level, but I think most importantly is what can we do? Is there like an opportunity for us to speak to how high the rates already are and concerns about possibly raising the rates? Thank you.
So the rate process is something that happens over a year. What it is we put in a proposal and it's a conversation between us and the regulators. It goes back and forth. It is, like I said, a conversation and negotiation basically, where we put in what we need the money for, which in this time is investments in our energy infrastructure. You know, we hear about climate change and how it's going to be more electric service as we have electric vehicles and all of that stuff added to the grid. So we have our proposal and it's a conversation. We don't always get what we ask for. It's, you know, kind of the opening shot, the opening of the negotiation, but it's a conversation and it's going to be happening over the next 11 months. So just like anything, I encourage you to reach out to your elected officials to speak to them about any feedback you might have.
Okay, thank you.
Just very quickly, because I'll have to repeat that.
Could you ask how you can participate? She can submit comment to the Department of Public Service, the New York State regulator. Anybody in New York State can submit comment on an ongoing rate case. Kind of does not prevent or discourage people from participating in the process. So I want to make sure that that's clear and that that's an available option.
So Indiana, the response from another comment rep in the room is that you can always participate in the process by going to the Department of Public Services website and contesting or otherwise providing comments in any particular matter.
Great, thank you very much.
Thanks, Indiana.
No, we have to move on to the next speaker. I know folks want to talk. They're still in the room for folks who are physically. And then if anything, troubleshoot questions over to the office. They do attend the district service cabinet meeting. So we can always continue to relay any questions. Okay, thank you.
Okay, so our next public speaker is Nokel, followed by Diego. So Nokel, you're speaking on immigration. You have 2 minutes.
Thank you. Good evening. Buenas noches. My name is Nokel Alejandro Mato Silver. I'm an immigration attorney. I'm here to let you know that on Saturday from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., we're going to be giving out free consultations for anybody that wants to know what their options are immigration-wise. Everyone is welcome. English speakers, Spanish speakers. That will be at 1545 St. Nicholas in the second floor, room B. Again, from 10 to 2 p.m. Buenas noches, el sábado de 10 de la mañana a 12 de la tarde vamos a estar dando consultas de inmigración gratuitas en el 1545 de San Nicolás, en el segundo piso, en la suite B. Also, I'm the co-chair of the Immigration Committee at the DVA, the Dominican Bar Association, and there will be some events this month. In the Lincoln Hospital, they will be having an event on March 15th. I don't have all the details on that, but in the Dominican Bar Association, you can see more details. On March 16th, we're gonna be partnering up with Fef Florimon, that used to be a board member that I know some of you know, at the Annunciation Church from 2 to 4 p.m. There'll be Know Your Rights. That's at 461 West 131st Street. And on March 22nd, the DVA, the Dominican Bar Association, will partner up with DUSA, Dominicanos USA, for an event as well. So you can look out for that. Rapidito en español, van a haber 3 eventos a través de la organización del Colegio de Abogados. El 15 de marzo en el Hospital Lincoln, el 16 de marzo de 2 a 4 en la Iglesia de Anunciación, en el 461 West de la 131. Eso va a ser Conozca sus derechos. Y el 22 de marzo va a haber un evento con Dominicanos USA.
Thank you. You have one question from a speaker.
Just to note, Gail was the phone number of CB12 and also licensing. So we'll see. Question.
Thank you.
Do you require like a component remain on Saturday so people just can come in as they wish?
They just can come in and I'll see them in a first come, first served basis, yeah. Yep.
Great, thank you so much. Our next public speaker is Diego Quintunia, speaking from the Community Research Forum. Diego, you have 2 minutes.
Hi, good evening, everyone. My name is Diego Quintunia. I'm the Community Affairs Coordinator for the Office of Academic and Community Partnerships here at Columbia University Urban Medical Center. Tomorrow we have our Community Research Forum, our first research forum since COVID. And tomorrow we'll be presenting on advancing evidence-based insights to research findings on cannabis, opioids, and fentanyl. It will be tomorrow at the School of Nursing, 560 West 168th Street on the 7th floor from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. I left flyers on the table. We highly encourage everyone to RSVP, and we look forward to seeing everybody there tomorrow. Thank you very much.
You have a question from Jacob Evans.
Yes.
So I have a conflict tomorrow, but will this information be available online there? Like the recent findings, will they be made available online?
There should be available online.
Okay.
There might be like an article posted up somewhere.
Okay, thank you.
There's a question from Steve Simon.
Is it possible that one of those speakers is someone who might be well known to members of this board?
Love it.
Very well known.
Would you want to mention her name or you want to keep it secret?
Her name is Catherine Diaz.
Oh.
But yeah, so Catherine will be there tomorrow. Again, we highly encourage everyone to come and learn. So yeah, again, thank you very much.
But make it clear, Catherine is speaking in her
Yes.
professional role
Exactly.
from the Office of Cannabis Management.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So we have 4 remaining speakers. I'm going to queue them up. So next up to the podium is Emily Cardoza from New York City Parks, speaking about hybrid J. Hood Wright, followed by Ada Slobotsky, speaking about democracy, followed by Sandy Reyes. Sandy withdrew? Okay.
And
No, think that.
No, okay, so we have Emily Cardoza. And then followed by, I guess, Sandy Reyes, yes, followed by Oliver Griff. So Emily, you have 2 minutes.
Thank you. Hi, everybody. My name is Emily Cardoza. I'm the Deputy Center Manager at Highbridge and J. Hood Wright Recreation Centers here in Washington Heights. If you're not familiar with the rec centers, we offer free and affordable programming for people in our communities. I just want to highlight a few events and programs that we're offering this month. Firstly, I'd like to mention some of our media education classes. We have intro to photography classes on Tuesday from 11 a.m. to 12:30 a.m. at J. Hood Wright Recreation Center in J. Hood Wright Park. And then we're also doing an intro to computers classes. This is good for older adults or not just older adults, anybody who has issues with computers. On Thursdays from 11 a.m. to 12:30 a.m. And then we're also offering, so a lot of our programs are membership based. They're free memberships for people under 25, and then they're like a pretty affordable rates for anybody 25 and older. But we do offer some free fitness classes throughout the week at both of our locations. On Tuesdays, we offer yoga and Espanol, Spanish yoga at Highbridge Recreation Center from 10 a.m. And then we're also doing a body weight burn class at 4:30 p.m. on Wednesdays. These are free classes for anybody if you just want to stop by. You don't need a membership or anything for our community. And then we are also having an event this month at Highbridge Recreation Center. It's a Latin fusion masquerade silent disco event. This is good for families, for anybody. It's on a Friday night it starts at 5:30, goes until 7:30. If you're looking for something to do on the 21st, feel free to stop by at Highbridge Recreation Center. I have this flyer. It has my name, my email, our phone number, our location, anybody who's interested. Thank you.
Flyer. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I can put them up in here. Thank you.
Sorry, the projector's coming down.
Next up is Sandy Reyes. Is Sandy Reyes still in the room? Okay, and then last is Oliver Britt. Oliver, you can step up. And Oliver, you have 2 minutes.
Sure thing. Good evening, everyone. My name is Oliver Guillon. I serve as the community school director on behalf of United Community Schools at one of our local elementary schools, PS4 Duke Ellington. So I wanted to come in today to inform you about that we will be having a citizenship drive / immigration clinic event that will be taking place in about a month from now on March 22nd. This event we are holding in partnership with Dominican USA and also Naleo Educational Fund, 2 organizations that I've been familiar with holding these citizenship drive events. So at this event, members of our community will be given assistance with applying for the N400 application to go through the process of getting their citizenship and also receive see if they're eligible to receive fee waivers as well. So we are will be also be working in partnership with for this event with the offices of Congressman Adriano Espaillat, Council Member Carmen de la Rosa, Borough President Mark Levine, and also Assembly Member Manny de los Santos. In order to this event will be open to the public, but in order to register for this event, there is an eligibility screening process on the flyer, which I've left some here at the table. On the flyer, you'll see a QR code on the top right corner. You can scan that, and then that way you can register for to start the screening process. In addition to these citizenship services, we will also have additional resources, and we're inviting other organizations for additional resources and services for immigration communities of varying different statuses. So for those people, they do not need to register. This will be open. They can just openly come into the school and stop by and receive those services as well. So if you have any questions, I'll be happy to take any. But like I said before, we've left some flyers over at the table this way. And if you have any questions, I'll take them if there's time.
But I'd love a copy.
Oh, for sure. Okay, I have even English and Spanish, by the way, over here.
Great, thank you so much. So that does conclude the public session. Thanks so much, Chair.
Oh, right. All right, our projector's warming up again. But we're gonna get started with our resolutions for tonight. So first up, we're gonna go over to Health and Environment with Steve Simon and to discuss Resolution 8. And then we got licensing, so thank you for doing it today. Let me see if I can get this one. You go. I'm just fixing.
Okay, before I get to my resolution, I would like to be able to embarrass one of our board members. No, I'm sorry. I mean, pay honor to one of our board members. I want to highlight the fact that we have among us we have the New Yorker of the Week I haven't hold the applause. I haven't mentioned her name. Carmen Paulino.
Woo!
And you have to read the write-up about her. It's amazing. You think the woman is a superhuman or 3 or 4 different people. I mean, she's tutoring, doing free tax forms for people. I forget everything she does. It's amazing. And she's a productive member of this board. So we are so lucky to have her. Thank you, Carmen, for all you do.
Congrats.
Okay, now to the business at hand. So we have from the Health and Environment Committee a resolution requesting improvements to the residential curbside composting program that began last October. It is our sense that we're not getting full or even half full participation among people in our community because they don't know about it. There hasn't been sufficient education and outreach, and the effort to provide free bins to people in our district and what's throughout the city is not really adequate. So we have, everybody, each building was allowed to get one free 21-gallon standard size composting bin, but some buildings are much larger. They need more than one bin, and that's one of the points that our resolution makes. But if I can, I'll read the resolve clauses. And so Community Board 12 Manhattan urges Department of Sanitation to provide increased education and outreach to Washington Heights and Inwood, including the rental and co-op buildings and various public event opportunities in order to improve the composting and overall recycling program success rate in this community. And be it further resolved, Community Board 12 Manhattan urges Disney, Department of Sanitation, to provide bins to all residential buildings in Washington Heights and Inwood free of charge in relation to the number of apartments in each building, thereby alleviating the pressure on apartment storage and encouraging compliance with the program. And be it further resolved, Community Board 12 Manhattan requests that Disney provide different sized composting bins based on the needs of a building, thereby allowing bins to be lifted as well as wheeled to the curbside pickup location. And be it further resolved, Community Board 12 Manhattan requests that enforcement of the composting program rules planned to go into effect in April be postponed, and that residential buildings be provided with more support from Disney, specifically in the communities of Washington Heights and Inwood, as well as in the rest of the city. This resolution was approved by my committee, the Health and Environment Committee, on a vote of 7 to 0 to 0, and also one member of the public voted in support of it as well. Let me just take this opportunity to also mention that we had an excellent presentation by the New York State Attorney General's office on the public health threat of street pesticides in northern Manhattan. He dropped off literature which is available here on the table. We need to get the word out to people in our community who think that they can just buy these pesticides on the street, that these pesticides are effective and they work. But the fact of the matter is that they are potentially very dangerous. And it is unfortunate that that we have vendors on our streets who are freely selling this. Even when they're shut down, they come back a few days later and continue to sell dangerous and illegal pesticides to the people in our community. COVID continues to be a factor in our community. There were higher hospitalization rates in zip codes 32 and 40 during the 28-day period from December 27th to January 23rd. Strangely enough, in the other two zip codes, the hospitalization rates were at 0. But in zip codes 32 and 40, which aren't even next to each other, the rates were higher than they should have been. We've been promised at our next meeting to get an update on the restoration of the psych beds at the Allen Hospital. Looking forward to that. You may have also seen today that an announcement was made concerning the construction of New York Presbyterian's new Cancer Plus building at 165th Street and Fort Washington Avenue. We've been asking, one of our former committee members have been pressing to find out how much it would cost. Well, we found out today in Crane's New York Business, the estimated cost of this building, $1.2 billion. Probably one of the most expensive, if not the most expensive health facilities to be built in New York City and ever, maybe. So the building at the other building where New York Presbyterian is putting up a new building at Broadway between 169th and 170th. The demolition is now underway. The whole block, I believe, should be down by the end of June. And at that point, New York Presbyterian is turning the building over to Columbia. Columbia is going to build a dormitory for its medical students. At our last meeting, we also had a presentation from the CEO of East Harlem Council of Human Services concerning the fact that the Barican Neighborhood Health Center, which they sponsor in East Harlem, is looking to expand and to open up a site in Washington Heights. They're looking at the radio tower at Amsterdam Avenue and 181st Street. They first need to raise about $15 million to pay for the capital cost. But if they do that, we may have our yet another health center in Washington Heights in an area where we certainly need more health services. So, thank you. And, I'm sorry, what was it? I don't accept questions. No, Mr. Benjamin, yeah, I'll accept one from him. Yes, yes.
So Steve, in the fifth whereas, it points out that the standard size compost giving is 70 pounds when it's full. And in the penultimate resolve, the resolution asks for different size composting bags. And my question is, do you want to ask for different size or do you want to ask for small specifically?
Well, I think what we had in mind was a range and including larger ones, but by the way, yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. But by the way, the only one here who's allowed to use the word penultimate is Chris Whitaker. No, but Chris Whitaker, he claimed rights to it at the last meeting. Jody, what do you think about that question? All right, so is that a friendly amendment, Mr. Benjamin?
Yes.
Okay, we accept it as a friendly amendment. Oh, well, Ms. Ritter.
Thank you. To Wayne's point, if the things have wheels, then how much it weighs is a little bit less important. But my question to you is not about the reso, it's about the recent changes from the current presidential administration with regard to the overhead reimbursement costs. Clearly attempting to cap that at 15% is a huge impact, negative impact on Columbia University that has a very large, robust grant income. So I'm just wondering, is that something you're going to be taking up in committee? Can you find out from the university, like what kind of financial hit they're possibly getting and what the extent to which that's going to translate into negative impacts for this community?
Well, certainly, what Liz is referring to, if it's not clear to people, the sizable federal funds that come to Columbia University and to other universities across the country for medical research, and the feds have chosen arbitrarily to cut back on the grants and also on the overhead provided to the institutions. It's an excellent question, and it's something that we should and will pursue at our committee.
Thank you.
Okay, let's listen to see what words he uses this time.
Hi, Steve. No, I appreciate it. I appreciate the resolution and I yield use and ultimately to Wayne.
Oh, that's very generous on your part.
One friendly amendment is just the very last phrase, communities of Washington Heights and Inwood, and I think you could stop there. We were just talking about specifically Washington Heights and Inwood. That's just a suggestion. The question I had, if you could maybe flesh out a little bit about what the committee talks about, is the hope that Disney will just make more of these available for people to just get as we need, or that they're going to do some kind of evaluation based on building size, something more scientific?
Yeah,
like it's opening up an issue here. And is there a case to be made that until we just get enforcement going, building owners aren't going to do what they need to do to get appropriate containers to size their needs? So I'm just wondering if that was part of the discussion, what you guys determined and how you wrote this.
Well, I tell you, it was our feeling that that before you start cracking down on people, you need to do more education. You need to get the word out so that people really know that this program exists. I mean, I talked to the super in my building. He had no idea what the hell I was talking about. And I had to explain it to him. And we did all get one mailing some months ago, but it really wasn't maybe detailed enough, so that, and it didn't register with people. And so it was our sense that before they start handing out fines, that they needed to do more education and outreach. And we see that they've had some events if you, in the different communities, but haven't really done anything yet in Washington Heights and Inwood. So we're trying to push them to do that.
Just following up on his suggestion, are you accepting that as a friendly amendment in the last result?
No, I want to be more, I don't want to sound that parochial. I want to be a little more expansive. I want to say that they should be doing, if you don't mind, that they should be providing support to people all over the city. You know, we're part of an entire city, and we don't want them to just, we don't want to just say that they just support us and not everyone else.
Right, and you have one last question for Joe.
You seconded?
I second.
Okay, then I go back to what he wanted. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah.
This is actually not a question, it's a comment. It may be cute to call the Department of Sanitation Disney, but it's confusing.
Yeah.
So it's the Department of Sanitation, that's what we are. I mean, movie is one thing, yeah, some of these, but we don't want to be ambiguous.
Well, the resolution, of course, refers to the Department of Sanitation, but then in parentheses uses the abbreviation, which is the standard form. But I will go back to referring to it as the Department of Sanitation in the first resolved. But it is, I mean, that is what, those are the official initials. I mean,
I'm
that's.
not talking about the initials, I'm talking about the word. It's not Disney. They have Mickey Mouse.
Oh.
We don't have Mickey Mouse.
Okay, so for now on, I'll just say DSNY. Okay, very good.
I don't know, it's a pretty good advertising option. They could put mouse ears on the rats around the garbage and call it Disney all they want. People might get the message then.
Yeah, all right.
That's it, Steve.
All right, okay. All right, am I done?
Yeah, you're running out of time.
Okay, very good.
We're at the time where we got things. So
Okay, very good.
thank you. I appreciate
All right, thank you all.
Thank you so much, Chair. For the licensing committee, we had 16 resolutions on the committee. However, you're not voting on agenda item number 1, agenda item number 13, 15, and 16 because they were withdrawn either at the meeting or prior to the meeting. 13, 15, 16, and of course, number 1. 13 has been withdrawn. Just for the record, we had one agenda item which the committee is recommending not to approve, and that'll be agenda item number 6, because there was no representation from the ownership. They also did not post a public notice, and they submit an incomplete application. Therefore, the committee is requesting that we do not approve that license. Going back to other items, we had some renewals from restaurant wine licenses, also for liquor licenses, a class change where that was a need to expand to a different class, but again was number 13 that was withdrawn, and a change of method of operation, and that is because the owner wanted to expand the hours just to make a little bit more profit. The committee considered some of the hours. After some discussion, we decided to approve, as you see in the resolution. Lastly, we have agenda item number 14, which was the only license that we approved. The reason why you see some people that came on board to speak, that was because there was some previous concern about noise issues. That was about 2 months ago. So the owner was present, representatives were present, and some of the employees were also present. As you noticed, also the superintendent was present. Just to make sure that we mitigated the problem, we requested that this establishment had a soundproofing effect. Also that they post a notice to prevent any issues or patrons hanging out in front of the establishment. And we also recommend for them to close the windows, the one that divides the sidewalk and the premise, to close at 10 o'clock at night to make sure that, we don't have any noise issues. On that note, I'm going to end to see if there are any questions. We're going to start with, Jim Berlin.
Number 12, is that a renewal or is it a new license?
That is, to change, the method of operation. That was just the one that I mentioned, so that's not a new license.
So they're extending the hour.
Correct.
Thank you.
Well, I see no other questions. That's a rarity. On that note, thank you so much, for everyone. That was fast.
I never turned that on. No, most of the times. Yeah. No, it's not working. Sorry, I was gonna share voting guidelines. All right, I guess with that, we're gonna pass the mic over to Alexis so we can vote.
And just as a friendly reminder, please, when I'm doing roll call and cast and hearing votes, please no cross speaking, please no yelling, I cannot hear. And it is disrespectful to everyone involved, okay? Thank you. Joel Rail.
You wanted to vote by proxy or no?
No. Janina Alcabal Ramirez. Maria Lali. Maria Lali.
Yes to all.
Thank you. Maria Lali, yes to all. Richard Almond.
Yes to all.
Richard Almond, yes to all. Mary Anderson.
Yes to all.
Mary Anderson, yes to all. Jay Baez.
It's on Zoom.
Go back to me. One more time, Jay Baez.
Yes to all.
Banis.
Yes to all.
David Banis, yes to all. Jay Baez.
Yes to all.
Thank you, Jay Baez, yes to all. Radia Barnes.
Yes to all.
Radia Barnes, yes to all. Wayne Benjamin.
Yes to all.
Wayne Benjamin, yes to all. James Berlin.
No on 12 and 14, yes to the rest.
James Berlin, no on 12 and 14, yes to the rest. Thank you. Danny Bonilla. Hector Bonilla. James Bosley.
Yes to all.
James Bosley, yes to all. Eliezer Rangel.
Abstain on 14, yes to the rest.
Okay, Eliezer Rangel, abstain on 14, yes to the rest. Thank you. Darryl Conklin.
Yes to all.
Darryl Conklin, yes to all. Darlene Corneal. Robert. Robert Cruz.
Yes to all.
Thank you, Robert Cruz, yes to all. Catherine Diaz.
Yes to all.
Catherine Diaz, yes to all. Noemi Diaz.
Yes to all, no to 6.
So that's no to 6, and that's actually yes to the rest. So now Noemi Diaz, no to 6, yes to the rest. Domingo Estevez.
No to 6, yes to the rest. Is that the recommendation to you?
Recommendation is not to approve.
It's an objection.
So you vote no, right?
No, it's already an objection.
So it's already a no, also, yes to all.
Okay. So wait, I'm sorry, just a minute. So Domingo, yes to all, correct? And I'm sorry, Remy, did you want to change your vote? And what was that?
It was yes to all as well.
Noemi Diaz, yes to all. So I'm just gonna repeat that again. Noemi Diaz, yes to all. Domingo Estevez, yes to all. Erwin Fernandez.
Yes to all.
Erwin Fernandez, yes to all. Luana Farrar.
Yes to all.
Miranda Farr, yes to all. Sonia Figueroa, no, she's not.
She's used that.
John Francis? John Francis?
Yes to all.
John Francis, yes to all. Thank you. Barbara Frazier?
Yes to all.
Barbara Frazier, yes to all.
Yes. Correct.
Thank you. Jonathan Fermetta?
Yes, to all.
Jonathan Fermetta, yes to all. Thank you. Tanisha Graham?
No, she's not. Oh, yeah, she's not.
Did you say my name?
Hi, Tanisha Graham. How do you vote? Back to you. Heidi Guzman?
Yes to all.
Heidi Guzman, yes to all. Jody Herzog?
Yes to all.
Jody Herzog, yes to all. Marion James?
She's not.
Leo Jimenez?
He was on, but he got picked up.
Yusuf Kulinski?
He's not.
O.C. Pamina?
Yes to all.
O.C. Pamina, yes to all. Thank you. Tracy McNeil?
Yes to all.
Thank you. Can I hear mommy say it?
Yes to all.
Tracy McNeil, yes to all. And Miles, your note is yes to all as well. Isidro Medina?
And vote on agenda item number 6, because the conflict. I am the secretary of that bid, and they report to me, so yes to the rest.
Okay, so Isidro Medina, number 6, conflict of interest as they are part of the bid, and yes to the rest. Carmen Polino?
Yes to all.
Carmen Polino, yes to all.
Give that to New York one.
I'm gonna start a resolution about you, Steve. Indiana Porter?
It's remote.
Yeah. Indiana Porter?
Yes to all.
Indiana Porter, yes to all. Liz Ritter?
I vote no on the anti-penultimate, number 14. I vote no on 12 and yes to the rest.
14, number 12, and yes to the rest.
Yep.
Bruce Robertson? Steve Simon?
Yes to all.
Steve Simon, thank you, Steve, yes to all. Carl Rigo? Carl?
Is that you all?
Yes, and Carl Rigo, yes to all. Anthony Viola?
Yes to all.
Anthony Viola, yes to all. Chris Whitaker?
Yes to all.
Chris Whitaker, yes to all. Crystal Woodley?
Yes to all.
Crystal Woodley, yes to all. Let me just go back. Tanisha Grant?
Notice 6, yes to the rest.
Okay, so Tanisha Grant, no to 6, yes to the rest. Okay, and then Leo Jimenez?
No, you.
All right,
No.
and Alexis Martinell, yes to all. Thank you.
Alright, so we're gonna go to committee reports. Some folks are referring to the minutes, so I'm gonna pass it off to Mary for concerns of the aging first. She's ready.
Thank you. We're in consideration doing some work for the next few months on the committee. In March, we will be having a presentation by the DA's office on scams and other issues affecting older adults. And in April, we will be meeting at the Inwood Library. And we'll be having a presentation from the library staff regarding sources, issues for senior citizens up at the library. We're hoping that members of the community that actually come into the library or live in the area will attend that meeting. So we're gonna do some reaching out. We're also in the process of discussing a health fair. More information to follow. There may be some changes in what we've said already. Depending on what happens at the next aging committee meeting. I'll be away for the month of March. Joseph Polinsky, the assistant chair, will be holding the fort and will be responding to the meetings that are necessary, the executive meeting and the general meeting. Thank you.
That's that fun.
Here we go.
Take us to stream. Oh, Marielle, is she still?
Marielle, if you're still on, if you want to give your report.
Did I hear my name?
Yeah, did you want to?
Sorry. Yes, hi, sorry. Good evening, everyone. I hope you're well. For Housing and Human Services, we had a really good meeting at the beginning of the month where we had representatives from HRA participate and join us. And it was good because it's one of the agencies that we really haven't had as much engagement with as we would have liked. And the two colleagues that showed up were really quite helpful, and you kind of had just honestly like an open flow discussion in terms of the types of services that exist across the city. So from like fair fares and, applying for SNAP and all of these types of things, I thought was really good. And they left a series of materials at the office. We hope to have them again in the future. So do stay tuned for that. In terms of a forward look, we are kind of, as a committee, going to be shifting a bit of our focus to the rent guidelines board, which is always kind of one of the big issues that always comes up around this time of the year. So do stay tuned for opportunities to engage in that. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Business development is referring to the minutes, and I believe public safety is as well. So that brings us to youth and education. Okay, youth and education refers to the minutes. Next is parks and cultural affairs.
I'm coming. Just have book announcements. Thanks, Domingo. Just quickly, as everybody knows, parks and cultural affairs seems usually is very inactive because most of the activities happen in the summer. So we've been getting proposals for art exhibits in Inwood Hill Park, sponsored by the Korean Art Forum. There's also the rehabilitation of the soccer fields at Dyckman Park. And we also had a wonderful presentation in conjunction with the Dyckman Farmhouse Museum about the African burial ground. We actually had the consultant come in to envision the space, which is going to look beautiful and a place of reflection and visiting in conjunction with the Dyckman Farmhouse, with a remembrance of our past. And the North was not free of owning slaves, as most history books would like for you to believe. Also, we continue to push for the 1% for parks, separate that I'll be reporting that in my next committee meeting. I attended the first summit with Riverside Park Conservancy, and that's about it. And Monsignor Kit, bathrooms. So all is happening so that we can get our parks nice and ready for the summer. So thank you, and also refer the minutes for more details on these initiatives.
Thanks, Solana. Next is land use.
Thank you. I refer you to the minutes, and I thank Heidi for doing an excellent job of drafting those. But I just want to mention that in the March meeting, we're going to have a presentation by City Planning on the New York City Industrial Plan. You may recall years ago, this is going back to 2018, 2017, when the inward rezoning started, it was a much smaller area from 10th Avenue going to the river, and the focus was on economic development and jobs. And that got lost in the mix as the process began. But this New York City industrial plan, which is coming out of local law 172 of 23, aims to bolster the city's industrial sector and support industrial and manufacturing businesses and jobs. What does that mean for us? The Inwood rail yards and nearby sites controlled by city transit are all going to be designated as primary industrial areas. So what that means as part of the plan, I do not know yet, but I just wanted to know that starting next month, we're going to have presentations on this, and the plan is going to be developed by city planning, EDC, which led the charge with the inward rezoning, as well as small business services. And given the involvement of small business services, our business development committee might also want to have presentations on this as well.
No questions?
Part of my thinking about the city again, like what, like.
What? Yeah, I mean, the city, well, the most recent City of Yes for housing opportunity passed with amendments from the city council, and some of those amendments actually reflect concerns that were raised by CB12 in its resolution.
Great, thank you. And then last but not least, Carmen, who is speaking both for traffic and transportation and cannabis.
You don't go together.
There you go. Wow, that is epic.
That was great, very clever. Good evening, everyone. For cannabis, I will refer you all to the video recording, but just quickly wanted to mention that the CUNY School of Public Health will be joining us at the March meeting to discuss the results of the Cannabis Equity Report. So I encourage all of you to join us in March. That's the first Monday. So that you can hear everything that they have learned about cannabis and our community sentiment on it. So please join us for that. And for traffic and transportation, we'll also like to refer you to the minutes and wanted to mention that in the March meeting, we will have a presentation on the Cancer Plus building that's being developed on West 165th Street and for Washington. A lot of you have heard about it. So come join us. We'll have a brief presentation on that. And we will start having a conversation on residential parking, which will be very fun. So I look forward to seeing you all there. Thank you and have a good night.
Thanks, Carmen. Liz has a hand up. I don't know what that was for.
Hello.
Someone else.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks. My hand's been up for a little while. I actually had, can somebody
Yes,
silence,
you can go ahead.
mute themselves, please? I had a question for Eleazar about a public safety issue. Is he in the meeting?
No, he has left.
Ah,
He deferred to the minutes.
okay.
Are there any Indiana?
Indiana?
It's not an announcement, it's just a request. In my personal capacity, I was looking at IDNYC enrollment centers and they have completely cut down on that. There's like basically one IDNYC enrollment center per borough, basically, and the hours now are only 9 to 5 during weekdays. And so I'm just concerned that this mayor has really like scaled that back. And the reason that I raise it now is because there's a lot of fear in the city among undocumented immigrants, and IDNYC is one of the few types of IDs that I guess, US, at least New York City issued ID that they can get. And what we don't want to do, I think, as a city is to have that be a card that's associated just with undocumented immigrants. And so I feel like the community board and, our outreach could be really helpful to kind of like reigniting interest in the card, maybe among college students, business owners, and just really our neighbors in an act of solidarity, to make sure that the card, is like widely used, not just, stereotypical card. Thank you.
Thanks, Indiana, for raising that. I'm spacing on the name, but the credit union that's next to the office building, they used to be a location and they've really cut down a lot of the nonprofits or organizations that used to process those applications. I think that one, it sounds like a great potential resolution from Housing and Human Services about IDNYC. And I can also try to reach out to see if we can maybe talk to them and see, if there's, you know, in terms of the partnerships that you raised, if there's, any of that that's active, or how we can kind of support that. So, but I love that thing too.
Great, thank you.
Any other announcements?
Motion.
I heard a motion to adjourn in a second, and many seconds. That was Isidro and, Juana. Okay, have a good evening, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Yeah.